going on, dudes and dudettes? So USC kind of unveiled their new largest facility slash big investment that they've been putting into not only like the football team but also other sports and stuff. So they basically put out a big old practice field. Obviously, it's mainly for the football team, but I've always seen like soccer players and other athletes, excuse me, go out there and work out on those same practice fields that they've already had. So that's pretty cool. At least they're starting to get going. I know there's another indoor facility that they're trying to get, especially for the on-campus for a lot of the athletes. So hopefully that gets done here pretty soon. And then Team USA basketball did play again their second game of this Olympics against South Sudan, who they barely beat about a week or so ago, but they were able to handily get this victory against South Sudan 103-86. Bam Adebayo stepped up with the better stats with 18 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 blocks. LeBron James did have finally 300 Olympic points, which I believe puts him in the area of like Carmelo and Kevin Durant, a couple of guys who have reached over that 300-point margin, which is pretty interesting because it's obvious like you think these are some of the greatest players of all time. Like 300 points should be pretty easy, but usually if you're playing, you only get, 3 games in your pool play, and then if you advance, and you get 4 games, I believe, in those medal rounds, and continuing on to the medal round. So, yeah, it's not that much, especially with how Team USA likes to play, giving the ball up and, getting more assists and actually getting points. So, we'll see how this goes for them. I think they still have one more game, like I said, pretty much against a nobody team, so I'm sure they'll still win that pretty easily. I think they've already advanced into the next round, but either way, still have to play those games to get into those medal rounds. An ex-USC Trojan, now Detroit Lions wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown was put on that top 100 list at number 23, and I believe last year he was around 67, so he definitely did a big jump up, obviously, with a very great statistical season, and Detroit getting pretty far into the playoffs. But yeah, hoping he does the same. I think he did that Netflix documentary about all those NFL wide receivers, and he said he was playing pretty injured throughout the year last year, and he still had his best year. So yeah, hopefully he is a bit closer to 100%, because I don't think any NFL player is ever 100%, but hopefully it's close, and maybe a nice pickup in the fantasy football game. You never know. And then ex-Duke player Luke Kennard looks like he is returning to the Memphis Grizzlies on a 1-year, $11 million deal. I think he tried to maybe get a deal somewhere else, but I remember saying before pretty recently that it kind of always looked like he was going to return to his team. I kind of thought that with both Gary Trent Jr. and Tyus Jones, 2 other ex-Duke guys, but they ended up signing somewhere else. But Kennard does return and getting pretty much the bigger contract. I think both of those two combined, he still gets more money, and he's probably just going to be coming off the bench. So yeah, congrats to him. And that 2025 center is a pretty good player, top 25 overall. I recently talked about Xavier Staton, and it looks like, he has scheduled a USC visit for the basketball side, so that's pretty good. Obviously, we were hoping that he would, because he did put him in one of his finals lists. So yeah, luckily he will be coming on campus pretty soon. There was a top 3 overall player in that 2025 class. I believe his name is Darren Peterson, and he is a 5-star also, and he actually put USC recently in his final 8 on the basketball recruiting side too. So yeah, he has a lot of good programs in his finals list, but USC I think could at least make another cut list of another half cut. So hoping for the best in that situation, of course, when it comes to recruiting. And it looks like the Big Ten is going to be doing some different sites for their men's basketball tournament. I know there was some talk maybe about them doing that for the football side, because it's always been played in Indianapolis where the Colts play. But I know at least right now for the basketball side, it looks like it has changed. I know for this season coming up in 2025, it's going to be still in Indianapolis. But then in 2026, it's going to Chicago, Illinois, where the Bulls play, which is cool. Then in 2027, it's returning back to Indianapolis, Indiana. Then in 2028, it is going to Las Vegas, Nevada. So I guess the kind of help out those Western schools so they don't have to travel back to the Midwest time zone. But that's going to be pretty cool. Maybe seeing that this is already going to happen for the basketball side, maybe it could also happen for the football side, even though it is kind of played around the same time, within like a couple months apart. But we'll have to wait and see. Both On3 and 247 Sports pretty much put out like their top 10, top 20 players. I wanted to just go through some of those guys I saw in the top 10 on both. It's pretty interesting because it's pretty divided, but I guess that's why they're both different recruiting databases. But that Jackson Cantwell, that offensive tackle, looks like he's near the top for both of them. I know USC made his finals list, so that's at least pretty good there. Ryder Lyons, the quarterback commit, and Xavier Griffin, who just recently committed to USC, are top 10 in 247 Sports top 10. But even next to Ryder Lyons, this thing, it says he's not committed or committed to USC, even though I thought he was. I never heard of any decommitment or anything like that. I thought his commitment was pretty much official when it happened, or I thought it happened. But either way, still hoping for the best right there. And then Jakeem Stewart, that pretty much guy everybody assumed was going to be number one. It looks like he's top 4 and On3, but in the top 10 for 247, he's not even in their top 10 right now, which is pretty interesting. But very talented guy. I would still love him to be on the USC's Trojans roster. And there was a top wide receiver who's pretty high on both. I think he's like number 3 on 1 and number 1 for On3s. His name is Chris Henry Jr. He actually goes to school out here in Orange County in California at Mater Dei, one of the top high school programs out there in high school football. But I am surprised that he is already still committed to Ohio State, and USC didn't even get involved from what I know. But yeah, I don't know how they're letting this 5-star top 3 overall player in the 2026 class slip right from under them. But hopefully they can get back into his recruitment at some point. And a 2026 4-star linebacker, Tristan Phillips, I believe he's based in California. It looks like he visited both LA schools over the weekend, especially USC. So hopefully they gain some momentum on his recruiting trail on the 2026 linebackers class. And then it looks like the Lakers are kind of looking to stay put. They're not looking to be in a trade scenario, even though people keep putting them in there right now, right before the season starts, at least a couple months before. But it looks like they're kind of wanting to stay put and bank on the health of both Jared Vanderbilt and Gabe Vincent, who missed quite a bit of time over the past couple years. But every single time they were in, they played very well. So I'm kind of hoping for the same thing. And if not, then near the trade deadline, they could always make another trade too. So, and maybe it'll be, you have to give up a lot less too to get some other player that you wanted right now during the summer. So it could work out both ways, but hoping at least both Vanderbilt and Vincent step up. And even Max Christie, who they gave a pretty nice contract too, so he has to step up as well. And it looks like On3 put out the ACC media poll, and it's for football, but it looks like Duke is in there at number 11 of 17 teams, so right there, smack dab in the middle. At least they think they're still better than around half of the league. But I thought going through that schedule, seeing some of the players that they brought in and returned, and maybe some of the guys that they lost, I think they still had a better shot of getting pretty much way over 500, in my opinion. Maybe only losing 4 to 5 of those games, so maybe because of that, because it's a bunch of teams that kind of beat up on each other, maybe that's where they end up. But I would bet that they're going to end up better than the 11th best team when it comes to record-wise at the end of the season, in my opinion. So we'll see how that goes, but yeah, either way, hopefully they use it as some motivation for year one under head coach Manny Diaz. I did a couple of fake mock drafts for fantasy football on Yahoo. I was just bored one night, and I was like, yeah, let me just see if I could do it and see how where the players are going and which players are going in certain spots, to see if I can develop some type of strategy when it comes to my real NFL draft for fantasy football in about a month or so. So with this first one, went okay until I was reading through it and saw what I did wrong, of course, halfway through. But I still think the first half of this is pretty darn good. The second half is maybe a bunch of guys I took flyers on, or Just wasn't thinking towards the end, of course, because of the pick I made. But with that first pick, round one, I had selected Justin Jefferson, the wide receiver from Minnesota. Round two, ended up with A.J. Brown, the wide receiver from Philadelphia. Round three, the Buffalo quarterback Josh Allen. Round four, tight end Kansas City Travis Kelce. Round five, running back Aaron Jones for Minnesota. Round six, running back from Pittsburgh Najee Harris. Round seven, wide receiver from Pittsburgh George Pickens. Round eight, tight end Atlanta Kyle Pitts. That's where I kind of messed up. Totally forgot I picked another tight end. Then round nine, ended up going wide receiver Deontay Johnson from Carolina. Round 10, running back from Denver Javonte Williams. Round 11, running back from the Chargers Gus Edwards. Round 12, wide receiver from Seattle Tyler Lockett. Round 13, running back from, I think he's back with the Cowboys, Ezekiel Elliott. Round 14, finally went with my defense and kicker, so I got the Kansas City defense. And then round 15, I had Younghoe Koo, who I believe is the Atlanta Falcons kicker, who is always one of those top guys out there. Even though his team kind of sucks, but they're still able to get at least a little bit past the halfway mark of the field, and he's able to knock in some field goals. And even if they get down near the touchdown, they're a pretty bad team, so they usually have to settle for field goals anyways. So either way, this is a pretty okay. I kind of, help myself, even though I picked two tight ends, but I don't know, maybe it could help out. Maybe Kelce loses a step and they're kind of just blanketing defenses on him. You never know. But either way, I didn't think it was too bad. But this second mock draft, I kind of wanted to see if I could put as many USC Trojans as I could. I've never done that in my official fantasy football teams, but this one I was able to get at least four. There was one I was about to pick, and they just picked him pretty late, a wide receiver, but I missed out on a wide receiver and a running back that I know of that are at least would be playing this year to get you some stats in fantasy football. But to start off this draft, ended up going round one, the wide receiver from Detroit in Amon-Ra St. Brown. Round two, the wide receiver from Atlanta, Drake London. Round three, the wide receiver from the Colts, Michael Pittman Jr. So 3 straight USC wide receivers. Excuse me. Round four, the Philadelphia quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Round five, the Houston Texans now running back, Joe Mixon. Round six, the Saints running back, Alvin Kamara. Round seven, the Patriots running back, Ramondre Stevenson. Round 8, the Jaguars tight end, Evan Ingram. Round 9, Buccaneers wide receiver, Chris Godwin. Round 10, the Titans running back, Tyjae Spears. Round 11, the Bears quarterback, Caleb Williams. There's my last USC guy. Round 12, the Arizona running back, Trey Benson. Round 13, the Chargers rookie wide receiver, Ladd McConkey. And 14-15, defense and kicker, ended up going with Buffalo's defense. Round 15, I believe he's the Miami kicker, and Jason Sanders. So, yeah, obviously that team scores a lot of points too. Buffalo's defense is usually pretty okay for most of the season, especially when it gets in the playoffs. So they're usually a good enough team to take a chance on during fantasy football year. And that's why you just stick with the defense and kicker late, because you could always switch them out in case there's too many injuries on that defense or your kicker, and just pick up the next guy who's available, who's still scoring enough points to keep you above water, as they say in fantasy football, because you kind of want each guy for you to score about 10 points. And that's at least what I see in my head, so that's about, I don't know, also like trying to get up to 100 points, I guess. So that's usually my benchmark, and if you pick players that do better, then you're going to go way over 100 and usually win pretty easily. But if some guys, stumble here and there, don't reach their projections, then you're not going to reach that 100 and hope that the other team has some setbacks as well. So either way, I thought it was pretty interesting going with as many USC guys as I could. It's pretty tough to go 3 straight wide receivers, but that's why I went running back heavy pretty much right after that. It still got some pretty good guys. I think Kamara, Mixon, and Stevenson as well are going to be the main backs in their offenses. So either way, I think it still worked out. Still got a really good quarterback too. But either way, we'll see how this goes. Hopefully I will be doing my official one in early December, the weekend right before the season starts. So thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.